Okay, in this video, we're going to look at the proper way to export your Muse document or your Muse project as HTML. Um, I will say this, Adobe Muse does not handle this as well as Adobe InDesign does, but let's take a look at the objective and then let's make sure we understand what it is we're doing. All right, first, the objective is we want to create two separate folders. One folder, all right, will be for the assets, and the other folder is going to be for the HTML. Now, the folder that is for the assets, that's for our benefit. That's going to have all the assets and the Muse file. And then the second folder is going to be the folder that will have the HTML, and that's what's going to be exported out, or that's going to be the thing that is going to be used to actually put content on the web. All right, so those are two objectives. So first of all, we're looking at this layout right here. Now, it's true, I may have put mainly images, content on this page that could have been drawn from other areas. So I'm not sure exactly if everything is coming out of one folder. I don't know. I can't remember. So the best thing to do is to create a new folder that has all the assets, and you do that after the job is complete. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go over to your assets folder, and you want to make sure that all of your assets are okay. There are no yellow diamonds or there's no red exclamation point in this area right here, and as you can see, everything checks out. All right, now again, it could be everything is coming from one area. It could be things are coming from different areas, but to make sure that everything is going to be put in one area, once you take a look at this, you make sure it's okay, then you click this little attaché case that says collect all assets. Is in the lower left hand corner of the assets dialog box. All right, so you click this, okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to target your desktop. I always recommend that you put things on your desktop. So target your desktop, all right, and then now you're going to create a new folder. All right, and then we're going to call this one, and it should have a unique name. Again, this is where InDesign will actually pick up the naming convention of your project and name everything from that point out. But in Muse, it's different. You have to actually physically name these things. So I'm going to call this one Judy's Assets. All right, and then I'll say create. So it's creating this folder on the desktop. You see the name, Judy's Assets. All right, so now it's opened up. I'll say choose. And at this point now, what's going to happen is it's going to put 8 things in this particular folder. I'll say OK. All right, so now we know that that's where it's going. Okay, great. So now the next thing up is we want to export this out as HTML. All right, so the way we do that is we're going to go to File, Export as HTML. All right, and then we're going to give it a specific name. We'll call this one Judy's site. Well, we'll call it one word, Judy's_site.com. That's going to be the name of this file. And now where it says location, we're going to create a folder for it. So we click on this, all right, and then now you can see it's going to want to target Judy's assets, but we don't want that in the Judy's assets folder. That folder is basically dedicated for the Muse file and all of its assets. So now we're going to target the desktop. All right, so we're back to the desktop. All right, and then we're going to say, again, new folder. And we're going to call this one Judy's site. All right, and we don't put a .com because it's just a folder. So we'll say create. All right, so now all of the HTML now is going to go in this folder. So we'll say choose, all right, and then we'll say OK, all right. And then now what Muse is going to do, all right, is going to put all of that material, all of the HTML in a separate folder on our desktop, all right. And then as a courtesy, what it always does is it will show you it in the browser. This is the finished piece. All right, these are all the assets. These are all the assets that are going to be exported out as HTML. All right, so we can close that down. We don't need that. All right, okay. So now what we're going to do is let's take a look at it and see what this whole thing looks like. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this down. We're in Muse right now. We're going to close this down. All right. And then we can actually close the whole thing down. So what I'm going to do is click here. All right. For this exercise, I'm not going to save this. You should, but I'm not going to save this. All right. And then I'm going to actually hide this. All right. And then we're going to take a look at our desktop. Okay. So I'm going to come to the side here. Let me get this out the way. All right. So now let's take a look and see those two folders that we created. And here they are. One is Judy's Assets. The other one is Judy's Site. In the Judy's Assets, now in this case, what we want to do is we should drag the actual Muse file into this folder. So let's say, for example, I'm going to just pull up the Muse file, all right? And that's the Muse file right there. All right, I'm just going to take it and drag it into this folder right here. All right, and again, InDesign would have automatically done that. We have to physically do that. So we have the Muse document inside here with all of its assets, so that if we need to go back into the Muse document to make a change, this is where we're going to do it. But it is in its own folder, and you can call it anything you want. We've chosen to call it Judy's Assets just to make it easier for us to identify it. Close it down. There it is, Judy's Assets. And then Judy's Site will have all of the HTML. And if you notice that in this particular folder, you will not find any assets folder. You will not find any Muse document because this is only the HTML. So you might say, what's the importance? Well, again, looking at these two folders, the assets and the site, we're going to make our changes. So let's say we come over here to the Muse file, all right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a change on the Muse document. So we're going to open it up. We'll come here. And the change I'm going to make here, it's going to be something really obvious. I'm going to say, meet Bob. All right? So I'm typing in Bob. Bob. All right? Meet Bob. That's the change. That's what I want. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this. All right? Because none of the assets have changed, I don't have to change anything in the assets folder. I just made this correction right here. I'll say File, Export as HTML. All right, and then I'm going to make sure I target the proper folder. And the proper folder that I want to target is the Judy Site folder, which is right here. I'll say Choose. All right, and then I'll say Export. Make sure, okay, export, okay. All right. Click this. And then you're going to see it's exporting the HTML out. It's coming out. All right. And then now, there's the change. Meet Bob. Okay. Now let's take a look and see. What this thing really looks like on our desktop. So I'm going to close all of this stuff down. All right, don't save. All right. Oh, I should have saved it. But anyway, all right, don't save. I should have saved it. And I should have saved it because I wanted to show you the actual thing again. So what we did was we modified it here. But notice, it updates here. So when I click on the index file, you'll see that the change is made here. All right, so let me close this down. All right. Come back here and I'll do it again. I'll do this again. And this time I will save it and hopefully it'll make sense. I come back to the original. This again, I should have saved this, but I didn't. So now I'm going to actually save it and export it out again. So I'm going to come over here. All right, come over here. And again, I should have saved it. Oh, I did save it. There you go. So let's do it one more time. We're going to say Meet Mary. That's the change that we're making. We're going to save this. All right. Then now we're going to File, Export as HTML. It's going to, let me make sure it's going where it needs to go. In the same Judy Site. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. All right. So we can say Choose. We'll say OK. All right. And once we say OK, it's going to export it out as HTML. And it's going to throw it up first. Once it exports it out as HTML, you'll see it here in the web browser. Meet Mary. That's in the web browser, and that's the HTML. So now when I close this down, this is Muse. Close down Muse. All right. It's thinking about it. That's a little beach ball. All right. Then we're going to close it down here. All right. So now we want to make sure we're going to save this. All right, and make sure it's saved. Okay. Then we're going to hide Muse. Again, this is the Muse file. This is where we made the changes. All the assets are there. And then we export it out into the HTML. So if you were to click on the index file here, it's going to open it up in the browser, and voila, it will say Meet Mary. So hopefully this makes sense. All right, and if we need to, and we will, we'll go over it again in class so that you'll understand the difference between the two folders and why they need to stay separate, and what is saved and what is exported out. Oh, one more thing. To actually submit your exported HTML, you click on the folder that has the exported HTML, right click, compress that folder, and it is this file right here. You don't have to physically rename anything because it's going to pick up the same name that's here. It's just going to make it a zipped or compressed archive, and that's what is submitted. So hopefully that makes sense.